Well, thank you so much for coming to the aquarium today. I'm happy you chose to be here, and I'm happy you chose to join me in looking at this exhibit and these amazing animals. And I want to address something that a lot of people ask me about at times. They say, well, I've heard that we're connected, but I don't really understand how. So I want to share one of the many ways we're connected. I'll mention that for some people, they have very personal connections to animals like this. People who go diving with them, for example, and many people around the world who eat fishes from ecosystems like reef ecosystems. But all of us, even if we live far away, are connected. For example, one of the major ways is that to live our lives, to drive our cars, to have comfortable homes, either heating when it's cold or air conditioning when it's hot, to operate our businesses, all of those things use natural gas or coal or oil that gets burned to make the energy for running those parts of our lives. And when we burn those things, carbon dioxide, an invisible gas, goes up into the atmosphere. And there's a natural blanket around the Earth made of carbon dioxide, but as our human activities are pumping more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, that blanket's getting thicker, and it's trapping heat, making the Earth warmer. Well, how does that connect to the ocean? Well, it turns out that the sky touches the ocean, and there's a lot of mixing, and carbon dioxide gets absorbed into the ocean from the atmosphere. And when it goes in, the carbon dioxide changes the chemistry. It's a little different. It's not as dramatic as the difference between seltzer water and plain water, but it's this general idea. Seltzer water and plain water, they're different. You know they're different. Well, the ocean, as more carbon dioxide gets in, gets a little closer to seltzer water, a little more acidic. If you've ever heard that drinking soda is not so good for your teeth, well, that change of chemistry, adding the carbon dioxide, turns out that it makes it hard for a lot of kinds of animals that live in the ocean to build their shells. Animals like corals. Corals are animals, and their skeletal structure is built from chemicals in the water. And as the ocean has more carbon dioxide and is a little more acidic, it's a little harder for the corals to build their skeletons. And the same is true for clams and oysters and many other kinds of organisms, including some of the really tiny ones that are like plants of the ocean, the phytoplankton, that are absorbing sunlight and making oxygen as they, just like forests do. Actually, the plants of the ocean, the phytoplankton of the ocean, make an awful lot of the oxygen on our planet. And some of them need to make shells, and it gets a little harder. Let me give you a little analogy. If you've ever tried to build a stack of blocks, and then you try to build a stack of blocks with a 2-year-old around, it's harder, right? You can still do it, but it gets harder. Well, the carbon dioxide in the ocean, as there's more, it's a little bit like adding 2-year-olds to the mix. And so that makes it harder for the organisms to build their shells. And so even though we may live far, far from coral reefs and this type of habitat, as the ocean chemistry changes because of human activities pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, that's one of the ways that we are connected. And so I want to encourage you to think about how can you work with your communities to find ways to reduce the harmful impacts of that, because it really does make a difference, and the health of the ocean and what it provides for not only beauty, but also things like food, things that we care about, are affected. And it turns out that scientists who study how do people behave, have found when groups of people work together with peers to try and problem solve, we often do better, even than finding expert recommendations. So, you can learn from experts. There are experts who study these issues. They have lots of really good ideas. Things like at a broad scale, policies that require good insulation for new buildings or efficiency in appliances or cars. Those can make a big difference, and experts say that, and you can all influence those things, but you probably will do more if we work with our communities, our families, our neighbors, local action groups, church groups frequently are doing a lot of good. So what I really hope you'll do is really have a conversation with people that you're close to about these kinds of issues, because we enjoy these kinds of animals.